Hey everybody, welcome back. In this series, we're going to do a 13-part series of the book Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell. And I'm not going to read the book to you in this 13-part series. What we're going to do is I'm really going to pull out the meat and potatoes of every single chapter of the book. That way we get the most out of it. But I would always recommend that you pick up this book either by Amazon or you go on Google, download the free PDF and read it yourself. But I'm really old-fashioned. I'm really get the book by Amazon. This isn't my book. I don't get any financial benefit from it. But pick up the book, get it in your personal development library, because this book right here is going to be one of the books that you constantly reread throughout your life. My book, I've actually buy a new one. My book is actually falling apart. All the pages are falling out, as you can kind of see. But I love this book. I have maybe about a handful of books that I just constantly reread over and over and over again. Now, I have a huge personal development library of books I keep, but this is one of the books I've been really wanting to dive into and do a video breakdown of this book. So this is a series here. So how this series is going to work, for one, in this video right here, we're going to go over a short introduction of the book. We're going to go over the preface of the book, because I think Raymond Holliwell, he wrote a wonderful introduction that kind of sets the tone of the book. And I want to read that to you, almost word for word, and we're kind of pick it apart a little bit. From there, everything's going to be broken down by chapters. There's 12 chapters we're going to go over, but not in this video. So each chapter is going to be a separate video. That way, it's not a 5-hour video, of course, and it's kind of easier to break things down, keep things kind of separate and condensed, and it makes more sense if you can if you can believe me there. But anyway, let's get rocking and rolling. Let's kind of dive into the preface. So right here, Raymond Holliwell wrote this book back in, I believe, 1967. Don't quote me on that because I'm going from memory, so don't be like, Chad, you're wrong. But I believe it was written in 1967. It's called Working with the Law. And what he's doing is each chapter is he's really describing the laws of the universe here, and he's describing it in a wonderful way. Because one of the things I love about old school prosperity teachers, like this book here, is it's filled with just wisdom all the way through the book. I mean, all the way through the book is there's very little fluff. I mean, that's why I don't like nowadays. Like nowadays, when people write books, it's really filled with fluff, and it's filled with sales and marketing tactics all the way through the book for you to buy their products. But old school prosperity teachers didn't do that. Like when they wrote a book, it's filled with wisdom. And this book is really going to be hard to pull out the meat and potatoes and not read every word for word, or not read the entire chapter to you. But I'm really going to pull out the meat and potatoes, try my best to. But I would always recommend get this book, just because you might be at a different phase. You might get something out of it. You might highlight different things of what I highlight. You might think, I might be skipping over something that would be very detrimental for your life and for your progress into manifesting and success and law of attraction. So other than that, let's get rocking and rolling, and let's dive down to the preface here of Raymond Holliwell. And I think he wrote a very, very great introduction, how it really sets the tone of this book. And so let me kind of read this to you, and we'll kind of discuss it as I read along as well. And I just want to say, as a disclaimer, I'm not a perfect reader. I'm not somebody that goes and narrates books and stuff like that. So bear with me here, and let's get rocking. Students for many years have come to this school asking for a better understanding of God. Now, when we talk about God here, really fast, don't flip out, don't freak out, stay with me here. If you believe in God, that's great. If you don't, we believe in universal laws, hang in there. Let's kind of dig a little bit deeper here. Don't flip out on me yet. The desiring knowledge of the best way to get the most out of life. They have heard God spoken of as being afar off, when he is as close to us as the breath we breathe, closer than our hands and feet. They have heard him spoken as love, divine mind, divine intelligence, Jehovah, God, Lord, first cause, primal substance, and other names. Being of an analytical mind, I too have wanted to know the facts of the truth. If it is the truth, there are facts to be had, and they can prove themselves not alone in spirit, but in very practical way. And I just want to kind of hint with this paragraph right here is lots of times, especially if you grew up in church, you grew up in religion, a lot of times when they teach God as a separate entity. You know what I mean? They teach God it's separate from us. He's a man up in the clouds, and there's no connection. It's just a separate entity from us, almost like a separate person from us. But what he's going to do is within this book, he's connecting it right away. He's basically saying that God is within us, abundance is within us, spirit is within us. So it's opposite from what we have been taught about God. It is my intention to present these lessons simply, without high-minded words or vague statements that sound pretty and promising. The terms above named are all synonymous. They mean one and the same thing, and I choose to use a simpler name that everyone will understand. I shall call God, working on our lives, law. Now, when he used the word God throughout this book, throughout the remaining chapters, he means law. And what he means by that, laws of the universe. Now other people in other books, like Thomas Troward, when they translate the word God is translated into the word law. So you're following the laws of God. You're following the laws of the universe. So that's what he means here. So when he says God, he's really meaning law. He's really meaning laws of the universe. Interpreting a law in several ways should bring it more clearly into a way of thinking. Then as we strive to work with the law, we are living closer to God, and such living things a better understanding. As you grow in knowledge and we're able to form better opinions, do not hesitate to change your views. Remember, the wise man changes his mind, the fool never. There can be no progress without change, no growth without renewal. And in this little paragraph, I just want to kind of do a disclaimer. Remember, this book was written in 1967, so he's going to go refer, besides saying us, man, woman, he's always going to say man, but that refers to everybody. Just more of an old-fashioned way of writing. There must be a constant stream of new thought, better thought, and truer thought to ensure progression in life. As soon as you can perceive the better, let go of the old, grasp the new. To continue to hold on to the old and the inferior when the new and superior is at hand is to retard growth. And to this one cause may be traced many of ills of man. Proceed to use your thinking faculty and take care that it does not use you. Master your mind and guide it intelligently. That is, exercise discrimination in all your thinking. Learn to think as you ought to think. Give your mental life to the matters that are absolutely essential to your welfare, and the balance of your thought to themes of beauty, truth, and progress. In other words, live with the ideal, but not neglect the practical. Now, what I want to kind of add is that he kind of brought up a very unique thing here. I mean, he said, proceed with a thinking faculty. Take care that did not use you. Master your mind and guide it intelligently. I kind of really love that, because what he's really talking about is we have this great power. Okay, the power of our mind. We have this superpower. A superpower of abundance. If you really believe abundance is inside you, you have this superpower. But we either can use it for us or we can use it against us. And really how we use this superpower against us is we let our mind, we let our thoughts just roam free. And most of the time when we let our thoughts roam free, what happens? We focus on the negative. And that's all we're focused on. We're focused on the negative. We're constantly focused on what we don't like, what we don't want to do. We're constantly focusing on we had a bad day, and that's what our mind focuses on. That's not controlling the superpower. That's not controlling your mind. And that's what he's talking about here. Aim to adjust the two and strive to be on the outside what you idealize on the inside. Your thoughts make you, and your ideals, principles, and ruling desires will determine your destiny. Learn to use your powers unless you wish to be used by them. And that's what I just explained. Learn to use your powers unless you wish to be used by them. Okay, that's what I just said. Use that superpower. Either you're going to control your superpower or it's going to control you. And when it controls you, it's kind of taking you down that rabbit hole of negativity. Make a daily effort to use your knowledge you have gained. Try to improve upon all your opinions. Endeavor to obtain a truer and larger conception of each of your personal views. This process entails effort, but all such mental discipline is highly constructive. It leads to a steady increase of mind power, and it is the mind that matters most among life's actualities. You may occasionally blunder. We are all inclined to do this, more so in the earlier stages of our mental development. However, we learn by our mistakes. Then, by the constant use of your intelligence, we can cause our faculties to grow so strong and alert that in time we're able to avoid further errors. So throughout this book, this is what we're going to learn to do. You're going to learn how to control your mental faculties. You're going to learn how to control your mind, control your thoughts. And we're going to do so. He really goes into, each chapter goes into the laws of the universe, and each chapter is a unique law that we have to follow. And either we take control of the superpower or we let it control us. Man's problems are mental in nature. They have no existence outside themselves, and it has been discovered that nearly all will yield up their solutions when subjected to our broad and exact analysis. Now I'll read that one more time, not the whole thing. Man's problems are mental in nature. Okay? Man meaning everybody. Man, woman. Problems are mental in nature. So this is what we have to believe. All of our problems that we have in our life, it's a mental problem. It's a thinking problem. We're bringing energy to our thinking. We're bringing energy to things that we don't like that occur into our lives. That's really the hardest thing to grasp. That if your life isn't going well right now, it's a mental issue. Okay, you've thought that into existence. You can acquire this ability by studying the law of life and its modes of expression. Then by constant effort, use your thinking faculty in a constructive ways as you work with these laws. Have good and sound reasons for all the views you hold. As you try to find these, many of your old-time views will fail to pieces. Form clear and definite ideas regarding your convictions as to why you would do as you do, and as to why you think as you think. Such practice is like conducting a mental house cleaning. Now, in a lot of my videos, this kind of talks about, or kind of hits on that. A lot of my videos, I talk about you have to be aware. You have to, when you do this stuff long enough, either law of assumption, law of attraction, manifesting, when you do this stuff long enough in your daily life, your perception of everything, you have to be aware of what's going on. And you will start being aware. You start becoming aware of how you talk, your speech. You start becoming aware of what you're thinking about. And once you become aware, that's when we can fix everything. That's when we catch ourselves, thinking and talking and just basically, thinking a negative situation to death, and we constantly replay it in our mind. We replay the mental pictures and imagination in our mind, and we wonder why we're attracting things we don't want. Clear and exact thinking is a very great necessity. It is, in fact, a sure means to advancement on the material as well on the spiritual planes. A line of distinction, however, should be drawn between mere surface thought, that is, ordinary, trivial, commonplace thinking, and real thought, which is associated with the understanding of truth. And I love that, because the question is what is truth? Okay, and I don't want to spoil it to you here when we talk about. Let me make sure this is on yellow. When he talks about understanding truth. Okay, what is truth? Okay, one of the things we have to understand truth here is that when I read The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, he really breaks it down. It will be broken down in this book as well, is that truth is knowing and realizing that abundance is inside you, knowing and realizing that heaven is within inside you, God is within inside you, the Spirit is within inside you. So abundance is yours. Abundance is your birthright. That is truth. Okay, and we'll dive into this more and more and more, and we'll kind of unlock understanding this truth. I don't want to spoil everything for you yet, but that's really kind of get your mind kind of going here. The latter is deep thinking, which arouses dormant powers, quickens the perceptions, and leads to the enlargement of the understanding. The former is but a passing phase of mental activity, while the latter governs the life of man. The shallow surface thought that we give to ordinary duties and small things of daily life is not the thought that reforms our character, develops our mind, or changes our destiny. It is the positive, deep, and penetrating thought that comes from profound and strong conviction, born of higher perception and clearer realization of the truth. The surface idea is not the real thought. And I love this right here because this is where things can sway either way. Okay, when we have a positive, deep, penetrating thought, we have a lot of conviction and emotion to it. That's going to steer us in that direction. But what we have to understand, the opposite can occur too. When we have a negative, deep, and penetrating negative thought, we bring conviction to it, we bring emotion to it. That will attract into our lives as well. Okay, because remember, our subconscious mind here is the subconscious mind cannot dictate between what's real, what's reality. It cannot dictate. It doesn't have a sense of humor. Okay, it's not funny. It's not used to your jokes. Your subconscious mind, it just takes it as is. It takes your thought as is, no matter if it's positive or negative. If it's negative, your subconscious mind thinks that, oh, Chad likes this negative stuff, so I'm going to bring more to him. Okay, that's why it has nothing to do if you're a good person or a bad person. It's just taking it as is. The inner convictions which control one's aims, desires, and motives constitute the real thoughts of the individual and wholly determine the course of his life and personal destiny. We're almost done here. Don't worry, we have a couple more paragraphs. Psychologists tell us that every individual is controlled by his own convictions, whether he is aware of it or not. Such convictions largely determine the nature of his thinking. The inner thought coming from the heart represents the real motives and desires. These are the causes of action. If his ideas and convictions are wholesome and true to his higher nature, all will be well, and he will reflect something of the harmony and beauty and utility of his constructive and superior views in his personal life. If his convictions or ideas are not wholesome and true, he will reflect something that is discordant, inharmonious, and evil. Always make a point of moving forward in your mind, ever seeking to unfold your power of thought and to develop hidden possibilities. Learn to train your mind to clear and exact thinking. Your ability to do so will grow rapidly by regular exercise and discipline. Let me highlight this for you. No normal person wants to decrease in power and ability. Therefore, strive to cultivate your intelligence and to express better, bigger, and superior thought on all matters about which you may think. There is such good in the world that it can outbalance the evil. Therefore, you can go on thinking more constructive and good thoughts every day about yourself, your fellow man, life, and all natural things, to constant enrichment of your mind and the improvement of your whole well-being. And this is what we're doing here in this whole book, in this 13-part series, is we're learning to train our mind. And the way we're going to do that, and how Raymond Holliwell breaks it down, is when we go into the chapter 1, is he breaks down every laws of the universe, and each chapter will be a different law of the universe that we must follow. Okay, if we break the law, that's when negative things starts happening in our lives. And the law is, the first law here we have to understand is our mind. It's our mental faculty. It's how we think. It's how we perceive things in our daily life. Even if something's negative happening, okay, because you might be thinking, well, Chad, negative things happen. Okay, when we talk about manifesting, when we talk about success, when we talk about law of attraction, law of assumption, it doesn't mean that negative things are not going to happen in your life. It doesn't mean that you're never going to have a bad day. It doesn't mean that today maybe something negative happened that Chad didn't like. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that nothing's negative going to happen. But this is what he's talking about. When we learn to train our mind, okay, it's what you start learning and understanding and you're getting better at, and I'm getting better at, is when negative things happen in our day, it's just our perception of it. Okay, don't react to it. Don't respond to it. Don't give emotional energy to it. Because once we react to something negative and we bring emotion to it, because of course we bring emotion to it because we don't like it. Okay, so we're going to have natural emotion. We don't like it. Then we replay the scene in our mind. We go inside our imagination and we replay it in our mind. We talk to our friends about it. We go to bed thinking about it. We go to sleep in that state thinking about it. And all that does is let the subconscious know that, hey, Chad's thinking about this negative thing over and over and over. He must like it. So the subconscious mind, the universe with universal law, brings more to me. Because remember, it doesn't matter. Remember, your subconscious mind, the universal laws, it's just attracting to you what is. And what is your thoughts and what your emotion is bringing to you. Okay, so it doesn't mean negative things aren't going to happen to us. But remember, it's our perception of it. It's, don't react to it, just walk around it. Don't bring emotion to it, just kind of ignore it. And what we need to do, we'll learn more on this book, what we need to do, and what we need to start doing is what we like, what we enjoy, our hobbies, we bring emotion to that. We talk about that. Stop, and we react to that. Stop reacting to the negative in your 3D world. So let's wrap up this last little paragraph. You cannot get the most out of these lessons by reading them once or twice. They should be read often and studied with scrutiny. You will find with each reading something clearer than before. Raymond Holliwell. And this is something right here is that what I said kind of in the very beginning. It's, this is an excellent book. Go on Amazon, buy it. Get it in your personal development library so you can pick it up and read it many, many times. This is a book that you're going to want to reread many times. It's very, very well written. It has tons and tons of wisdom in here. There's almost literally no fluff. Okay, so this is going to be a challenge for me not to want to just pretty much read word for word every single chapter, but that's really not the goal. So what we're going to do at this point in the next video is we're going to dive into chapter 1, and I'm going to pull out the meat and potatoes for you. I'm already going to have highlighted stuff I want to go over in this chapter. But again, get the book yourself, or at least get the PDF and read these chapters before you watch these videos so you can get the most out of it, because we're going to discuss things as we go along and kind of pull out the meat and potatoes, like I said, and help you out as much as possible. Even when I'm going through this right now, I get tons of information out of this, because like he said here, each time you read the book, you're at a different stage in your life, and you have a different outlook on your life, an outlook on mind control, outlook on your thoughts and thoughts control, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper for you, and you kind of learn something new every single time. But other than that, my friends, hang in there. Blessings to you. Thanks for listening. If you have comments, comment below, of course. And this is going to maybe autoplay into chapter 1. If not, make sure you look for chapter 1, and we're going to dive into chapter 1 next. Blessings to you. Hang in there, and I'll see you in chapter 1.